Hello and welcome students. We are into the 33rd video lecture of the video lecture series made on the subject of machine design whose subject code is AMI303 and the topic which we are going to discuss today is the design of anti-friction bearings part 2. This is in continuation with my previous video lecture in which I have told you about the different types of anti-friction bearings and what is the principle that is used for self-aligning bearings. So we are going to discuss today about the dynamic load carrying capacity of a bearing, static load carrying capacity of the bearing and the rated life of the bearing. As far as I am concerned, I am Shri Krishna Mishra, Assistant Professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Suresh Gyan Vihar University, Jaipur. So before moving into the lecture, let's see what are the objectives of today's lecture. These are the objectives of today's lecture, students. First, we are going to understand the importance of static load carrying capacity of a bearing. Now this is very important. The load that can be sustained by a roller or a ball bearing, that is when it is in stationary position, that is its static load. So we are going to understand about it. The second objective is we are going to know about the dynamic load carrying capacity of the bearing. So when the bearing is in rotating rotating condition, so in that situation, what is the load that it can sustain? So we will discuss about that, that is the dynamic load. Coming into the third objective, we are going to understand the concept of rated life. All right, and in rated life, we are finally going to know about the L10 life. It is an important concept. We have to understand it. Based on these concepts, we are also going to solve some numericals in order to strengthen our concept of the subject. All right, so let's start the discussion now. We are going to discuss the topic of dynamic load carrying capacity in the case of ball bearings, ball and roller bearings. So basically till now, as I have already taught you in the previous lecture about the different types of ball bearings, and apart from that, what is the advantage of using ball bearing as compared to the plain bearings that we have seen. And then there is difference between ball and roller bearings that also I have explained in the previous lecture. Always whenever the load carrying capacity, if you want to increase of our anti-friction bearing, for that you use rollers in place of balls. All right, so ball bearings and roller bearing classification we have seen, and then there are some, we can say there are some self-aligning bearings. So self-aligning bearing concept also I have taught to you. So now we are going into the design aspect of a ball and roller bearing. Design aspect of the anti-friction bearings. Why are these called as anti-friction bearings? Because here the friction amount is very less, because there is either line contact or point contact between the two surfaces. So now let's understand about the design aspect of ball bearing. So for that we will have to consider the load that is acting on a bearing. For example, if this is the bearing which you are seeing, if this is the bearing and some load is acting on it, some load is acting on it. All right, so we are going to discuss about how much load is applied and how it will be sustained by the ball of the bearings. So first of all, this term, dynamic load carrying capacity, this is important to be understood. See, first of all, the life of the bearing is limited by the fatigue failure at the surface of balls and races. If for example, student, this is the inner race, and outside of this inner race you have balls like this. So the load which is acting on the bearing, that is sustained by these balls, and the load is always changing with respect to time. That is with respect to time. If you find a relation of the load or the stress that is acting on the balls, you will find that it is changing with respect to time. It is changing with respect to time. Means here the load that is acting is the fluctuating load, and the failure which occurs due to fluctuating load is the fatigue failure. All right, so the life of the ball bearing is basically limited by this fatigue failure at the surfaces of the ball and the races. This particular surface between the ball and the races, here the life of the ball bearing is limited by this particular fatigue failure at this particular region between the ball and the races. Now, the dynamic load carrying capacity of the bearing is therefore based on fatigue life of the bearing. Therefore, always the dynamic load carrying capacity value, the load carrying capacity means when the bearing is in motion, when the shaft is in motion, in fact, we say, then in that case, the carrying capacity of the bearing is known as the dynamic load carrying capacity. All right. And in other words, we can say the life of individual ball bearing is defined as the number of revolutions or hours of service at some given constant speed, which the bearing runs before the first evidence of fatigue crack in balls or races. Means the number of revolutions completed by a bearing before the first evidence of a crack in it is considered as the life of a ball bearing. Now, in that case, whenever we are considering the number of revolutions, we are considering it at a constant speed. So, if you want to check the life of a bearing, how we can check through experiment? We can rotate it at a constant speed, and we can check the number of revolutions that are attained by it at a particular load before the evidence of first crack. All right, and that will give you the value of life of the bearing. This will give you the value of life of the bearing. All right, so first of all, before this is, there is a dynamic load carrying capacity and the static load carrying capacity, which I have to tell you. Static load carrying capacity means when the shaft is stationary, it is not rotating. When the shaft is stationary, at that time the load that is acting on the bearing is known as your static load. When the shaft is stationary, then that time the load that is acting on the bearing is known as your static load carrying static load, and the capacity of the bearing to bear this load is known as the static load carrying capacity. And the problem with this static load, why we study this static load, the problem is that it produces permanent deformation in balls and races. It produces permanent deformation in balls and races, and this permanent deformation increases with increasing load. This permanent deformation increases with increase in load. And the one more thing, the permissible static load therefore depends upon permissible magnitude of permanent deformation. Whatever is the permanent deformation that is acting, our permissible static load is uh, its maximum value is considered till that point, up to which there is permissible value of permanent deformation. So static load carrying capacity, how we can define the static load carrying capacity? In definition terms, we can say it is defined as, in technical terms, we can say it is defined as the static load which corresponds to total permanent deformation of the balls and races at the most heavily stressed point of contact, that is equal to 0.0001 of the ball diameter. This means that the static load which will cause the total permanent deformation of ball and the inner and the outer race at the most heavily stressed point of contact equal to 0.0001 of the diameter. Means if, for example, this is the inner race and these are the balls, students, these are the balls. So if there is deformation of either the ball or this races, the maximum deformation at any location, if it is equal to wherever the maximum deformation you are getting, which is equal to 0.0001 of the diameter, 0.0001 diameter, this particular value of deformation, if you are getting at any point, so at that particular point, at that particular situation, when you are getting this much deformation of the inner or outer race of the or the ball diameter, if this particular deformation you are getting 0.0001 times of the diameter, then the load at that particular point is known as the static load carrying capacity of the bearing. The load at that particular situation is known as the static load carrying capacity. All right, this is your static load carrying capacity. So this is the actual definition. definition in broad sense. All right, normally you can say that the capacity of the capacity of the bearing to sustain a static load is known as static load carrying capacity. But the complete definition will be the carrying capacity. Then after now here where condition of friction, noise, and smoothness are not critical, much higher deformation can be tolerated, and consequently static load up to 4 times the static load carrying capacity may be permissible. Now see, the load carrying capacity is based on your requirement, means the condition of friction, the noise, and the smoothness. If you need high smoothness, then for that case load carrying capacity will be that same which I have told you in the definition. But if this noise, the problem of noise that is arising with the motion of bearing, if that can be tolerated, and if smoothness can be tolerated, and if friction to some extent can be tolerated, then we can take the load carrying capacity equal to 4 times of the total load carrying capacity of the bearing. All right. So whenever we can take into consideration the noise, the smoothness, and condition of friction, then in that case we can take the load carrying capacity equal to 4 times of this value which I have told you through definition. While on the other hand, when extreme smoothness of operation is desired, then in that case smaller permanent deformation is permitted. So based on our application, this load carrying capacity is decided. All right. Now, as I have told to you, dynamic load carrying capacity, when the bearing is in motion, at that time the load that is sustained by the bearing is the dynamic load carrying capacity. Since life of the bearing is what? Life of the bearing is basically your number of revolutions that are covered by a bearing at constant speed before there is any first evidence of fatigue crack in its balls or races. All right. So the first evidence of crack, which is due to fatigue. All right. Before that, the number of revolutions that are completed by the bearing, that is known as your life of the bearing. Since of the bearing is very difficult to predict, like if this way you will predict, then it will take a lot of time. Therefore, it is necessary to define the life in terms of statistical average performance of the group of bearing. So basically, due to this, since it is very difficult to predict the life of a bearing, so statistically, what we do, we perform experiment on a group of bearings, and we finally see that now there are two criteria by which we can calculate the life of bearing. One is we can either take the average life of the group of bearings, means for example you are using 10 bearings for experiment, and whatever life you are getting from the 10 bearings, you are taking average of the values of that particular number of revolutions attained by each of the bearing. So in that case the average value is taken as the life of bearing. All right, average value. And how we can conclude that 90% of bearing, if average life of a bearing, or the life which 90% of the bearing will reach or exceed. So there are two criteria. One is the average life we will take of all the bearings which we have taken under considerations, and the second is that we will see that how many of the bearings have completed 90%, means how many we can take in second, means it two criteria can be said in this way, students. First is just very simple, we will take the average of the life of all the bearings before the evidence of first crack on it. The second is that we will take the life which 90% of the bearing will reach or exceed. We will take the value of life of the bearing as the number of revolutions which 90% of the bearing will reach or exceed. All right. Now, basically, among these both criteria, the most popular criteria is the second criteria. Means this 90% of the bearing case, and the life which we get through this particular second criteria is known as L10 life. It is known as L10 life. The life which we get through this 90% of bearing criteria is your L10 life. So by definition, what we can say, L10 life is what? It is the rating life of a group of apparently identical, means near about identical ball bearings. All right, the rating life of a group of apparently identical ball bearing is defined as number of revolutions that 90% of the bearing will complete or exceed before the first evidence of fatigue crack. All right. So before the evidence of the crack, the number of revolutions that 90% of the bearing will complete is known as the rating life of a group of ball bearings. So this means that if, for example, if you are taking 10 balls for experiment, if you are taking 10 balls for experiment, and you find that among these 10 balls, 9 balls can sustain 10 to the power 3 revolutions before the evidence of first crack. So this means that L10 life will be 10 to the power 3. If out of these 10 bearings, if 9 bearings attains 1000 number of revolutions before evidence of crack, this means that 1000 will be its L10 life. So what explanation this I have told to you with an example. L10 life is the life which 90% of the bearing will complete before the evidence of first crack. All right. And these bearings which we are taking are identical with each other. Means it is not that during experiment we will change the bearing and use different bearings. All right. So all the 10 which we have used for experiment, all the 10 bearings will be same. This is your L10 life. Now apart from this L10 life, dynamic load carrying capacity. Now based on it, dynamic load carrying capacity we can define as the radial load in radial bearings or the thrust load in thrust bearing. Means if the bearing is made to sustain the radial load, either that case, or if the bearing is made to sustain the axial load. In both the cases, the load that can be carried for a minimum number of 1 million revolutions is known as dynamic load capacity. Now this is very accurate definition, that here it is saying that the load that the load, either the radial load or the thrust load, which can be carried by a bearing for at least 1 million revolutions, is known as dynamic load carrying capacity. All right. And the minimum life in this definition means what? Minimum life means the L10 life. Minimum life means the L10 life, which I have just now told to you, which 90% of the bearing will reach or exceed before fatigue failure. All right. So in this way, we can say that dynamic load carrying capacity is the capacity of a bearing to sustain the radial or thrust load for minimum number of life. Means minimum life means L10 life. So the dynamic load carrying capacity is based on assumption that inner race is rotating while the outer race is stationary. Generally, on maximum occasions, what we see, inner race is connected to the rotating element. And due to this is in rotating phase, it rotates with the shaft. Outer element remains stationary. Outer element remains stationary. So this is generally in this assumption which we have made for dynamic load carrying capacity. We have taken this, that inner race is rotating while the outer race is stationary. And after this is an important calculation in the design of bearing, equivalent bearing load. Now, what is this equivalent bearing load? Let's see. In actual application, the force acting on the bearing has two components, radial and the thrust load. This we have seen, students, that in actual cases, what we see in any bearing, there are two loads which are acting on the bearing. There are two loads which are acting on the bearing. What are these two loads? One is the radial load and the other is the thrust load. This I have already told to you. One is along the radial direction and the second is along the axial direction. These are the two components. And it is therefore necessary to convert the two components acting on the bearing into single hypothetical load. So means a hypothetical load we will calculate, and this hypothetical load will be equal to the combination of these two loads, the radial load and the thrust load. In general, we all know in general these both loads act on the bearing, radial and the thrust load. So if we want to find a equation for that, what we will have to do, we will have to convert these two components, radial component and the thrust component of force, into a single hypothetical imaginary load that will fulfill the condition applied to dynamic load carrying capacity. Now this hypothetical load will be equal to how much? This hypothetical load is your equivalent bearing load, means a single bearing load which will satisfy the case of radial component as well as the thrust component. That is known as your equivalent bearing load. that is known as your equivalent bearing load. And by definition, what we can say, by definition, we can say equivalent bearing load or equivalent dynamic load is defined as constant radial load in radial bearings, or if it is a thrust bearing, then a thrust load in thrust bearing, which if applied to the bearing will give the same life as that which the bearing will attain under actual condition of forces. See, it is not always possible that if you are using a bearing for sustaining the radial load, then in that case there will not be any thrust load. There will be some amount of thrust load, and same is the case for a thrust bearing in which you are designing it for sustaining the thrust load. So it is not always correct that it will be you there will be only thrust load acting on it. So in order to find a single load which produces the same effect as produced by the two individual components, then single imaginary load is known as the equivalent dynamic load. All right. By definition, we can say that it is the constant radial load in radial bearings or thrust load in thrust bearings, which if applied to the bearing will give the same life as that which the bearing will attain under conditions of force. And mathematically, we can say the expression for equivalent dynamic load is written in this way. Expression is P, capital P equal to XVFR plus YFA. XVFR plus YFA. P is equal to XVFR plus YFA. Now here, let me tell you the different meaning of different notations. FR is the radial value of radial load. FA is the value of axial load. All right. FR is the value of radial load and FA is the value of axial load. Apart from this, this XV, let me tell you the meaning of XV. X and X, first of all, X and Y. What are this X and Y? This X is your radial factor. X is what? X is your radial factor. And Y is your thrust factor. These are the two factors, and their values are generally given in machine design data book, or in other words we can say this value are given in manufacturer's catalog. Means direct in the questions in the numericals this value will be given to you. All right, the radial factor and the thrust factor, they are your X and Y, radial factor and the thrust factor. Then after students, one more thing is there, which is your capital V. Capital V is nothing but your race rotation factor. Capital V is a factor which is known as race rotation factor. It is what? It is a race rotation factor. This capital V, it is the race rotation factor. Race rotation factor, its value is generally taken as 1 because race rotation factor is takes into consideration that which race is rotating, inner race or the outer race. If the inner race is rotating, then race rotation factor is taken as 1. While if the outer race is rotating, then it can have the other values. All right, so V is equal to, generally on maximum cases, we will take V is equal to 1. X and Y are what? X and Y are they are the radial and the thrust factor. All right, and FR and FA are the radial load and the axial thrust load that are acting on the bearing. Now, based on this equation, let's move further and see some more relations between values that I told you, life and their dynamic load carrying capacity and equivalent bearing load. So race rotation factor, first of all, let me tell you, as I've already told you, V race rotation factor is equal to 1. All right, race rotation factor depends upon whether inner race is rotating or the outer race. So V is equal to 1 if the inner race rotates and the outer race is stationary. V is equal to 1.2 for the reverse case, means outer race rotating while the inner race remains stationary. This is also possible, that the bearing outer surface is rotating and the inner surface is stationary. In most of the application, generally we see that inner race rotates. Most of the application we see that inner race rotates, and if inner race is rotating, then V value we will take equal to 1, and then in that case equivalent dynamic load formula, equivalent bearing load formula will be simplified into P is equal to XFR plus YFA. P is equal to XFR plus YFA. This becomes the formula for calculating the equivalent dynamic load, because V is generally equal to 1. All right, then by this formula we will calculate the equivalent dynamic load. The effect of V, why we have used this V, the effect of this race rotation factor is considered only in special cases where outer race rotates. Now, for if the case is of pure radial load, there is no axial thrust load acting on the bearing. So, if this is the case, so in that case, what we will take the axial load value Fa equal to 0. So, the equation will be simplified into there will be no factor, there will be no axial load, and there will be only load is equal to radial load. And if the case is of pure thrust load, this means that there is no radial load acting on it, and there is no even the factor consideration. All right, directly we can write in the case of pure thrust load, P is equal to axial load. All right, so this is very important. In the case of pure radial load, P is equal to Fr, and in the case of pure thrust load, P is equal to Fa. Let's talk about the relationship between load and life. Load and life. Let's talk about the relationship between them. See, the relation between dynamic load carrying capacity, the relation between dynamic load carrying capacity, just a minute, the relation between the dynamic load carrying capacity, the equivalent dynamic load, and life of the bearing, that is bearing life. First relation is L10, that's the L10 life of the bearing, is equal to C, capital C, which is the dynamic load carrying capacity, divided by P. P is the load that is acting on the bearing, to the power small p, to the power small p. Small p is a uh, factor whose value is generally for ball bearing taken as 3, and for roller bearing it is taken as 10 by 3. All right. So in this formula of L10 life, students, L10 is your life of bearing, L10 rating life. C is your C is what? C is your dynamic load carrying capacity. Capital P is the load that is acting, and small p is what? Small p is the value is a it is a factor whose value is taken as 3 for ball bearings, and for roller bearings we will take equal to 10 by 3. Now if we want to simplify or rearrange this equation, if we rearrange this equation, it will get converted into C is equal to, now you are taking this P into the LHS. All right, so C is equal to become C is equal to, it will become P into L10 to the power 1 by P, P into L10 to the power 1 by 3. All right, this will be for ball bearings, because for ball bearings, P value we are taking equal to 3. While in the case of roller bearings, it will simplify into C is equal to P into L10 to the power what? To the power 10 by 3, opposite of 10 by 3 means 3 by 10, that is equal to 0 0.3. All right, so C is equal to P into L to 10 to the power 0 0.3. Directly, you can use this formula for roller bearings, and for ball bearing, C is equal to P into L10 to the power 1 by 3. Now, for all type of roller bearings, as I have calculated this formula, for all type of roller bearings, C is equal to P into L10 to the power 0 0.3. There is one more relation between this L10 rating life and the normal life in hours. See, there can be two ways of representing this life. One is in million revolutions, you can tell the rating life, the number of revolutions covered by a bearing before the evidence of first crack. So, in terms of number of revolutions, also you can mention the life of the bearing. In that case, it will be L10. Normally, we will write, while in the case of number of hours before the evidence of first crack, if you are writing the life in this way, in terms of number of hours, it will be written as L10 into H, L10 into H, L subscript L10H. All right, L in subscript we are writing 10H, L in subscript we are writing 10H. So this is in hours. So what will be the relation which we will use in converting if the question has given us the value in million revolutions? We will use this formula. L10, that is in revolution, in million revolutions, life in million revolution is equal to 60 into n into L10H, life in hours, divided by 10 to the power 6. 60 into small n into L10H divided by 10 to the power 6, where n, small n is what? Small n is the speed of the rotation of the shaft. The speed of the rotation of the shaft in RPM, in revolutions per minute. All right. So getting my point, what I am saying to you here, two equations are very critical. What are those two equations? One is the L to C the power capital P. You can simplify the equation for roller bearing. It will be C into P. For ball bearing, it will be C is equal to P into L 10 to the power 1 by 3. And for roller bearing, it will be C is equal to P into L 10 to the power 0.3. Here, there is a value small b which is taken as 3 for ball bearing, and for roller bearing, it is equal to 10 by 3. This you should keep in mind. All right, and this L10 life is generally in this formula, it is in million revolutions. Now, if in the question they have given you the value of life in terms of hours, then you will have to calculate the life in terms of million revolutions. So how you will calculate? You will use this formula. You will use this formula. You will use this formula. All right, L10 is equal to 60 and L10H upon 10 to the power 6. All right, L10H is the life in hours and N is the speed of the rotation in RPM. So I hope you have understood these relationships. Now with the help of numericals, we will try to understand this. We will try to understand with the help of numericals. This is the first numerical, student. Let's read out what the numerical is saying. In a particular application, the radial load acting on a ball bearing is 5 kilonewton, and the expected life for 90% of the bearing is 8,000 hours. Then after, calculate the dynamic load carrying capacity of the bearing when the shaft rotates at 1450 RPM. So here, students, you can see that in the numerical, the radial load which is acting, its value is given to you. The value of radial load is given to us. And what is it? It is equal to 5 kilonewton. All right. So what is this? This is your, we write it by FR. All right, radial load. Then after, the expected life for 90% of the bearing means this is your L10 life, but it is in hours. You can see that it is in hours, means this is what? This is your L10H. This is your L, all right, L10H. This is your L10H. So life of the bearing in hours is your 8,000 hours. Then after, we have to calculate the dynamic load carrying capacity of the bearing when the shaft rotates at 1450 RPM. When the shaft rotates at this particular RPM, then what will be the value of dynamic load carrying capacity which we will have to calculate. So this rotation of the shaft, we will use the notation small n. The small n is given to us, Fr is given to us. All right, and since the value of Fr, radial load, is only given to us, therefore this is a case of pure radial load, Fr. All right, so the P here, what we will do, we will take P is equal to, here in this particular question, we will take P load is equal to Fr is equal to 5 kilonewton. That is, means 5 kilonewton is your 5,000 Newton. All right, and all the other inputs, first of all, we have listed FR, radial load, life in hours 8,000, and RPM 1450. We have listed first of all, and we will try to calculate in step 1. We will try to calculate the L10 life. How we will calculate? Formula in the previous uh, discussion I have told to you, this is the formula between L10 life and the life in hours. So we will use this formula and try to calculate this. Try to calculate this L10 life in millions of revolutions. So this formula we are using here, L10 is equal to 60 into N into L10H upon 10 to the power 6. 6 and 1450 given here. Live in hours is given to us 8,000 hours, and 10 to the power 6 divided by 10 to the power 6. So the value which you will get is equal to 696. 696 means 696 million revolution is the value. 696 million revolution. This is the answer of the bearing life in terms of millions of revolutions. Then after, second step is to calculate the dynamic load carrying capacity. Second step is to calculate the dynamic load carrying capacity. So for that, the load which is given to us is P is equal to Fr is equal to 5,000 Newton. And the second equation which we have discussed in the previous slide, in this equation, what we have seen, in this equation, you can see that P is equal to F is written. All right, so using this equation, what we will do, we will calculate using the equation C is equal to P into L and the power 1 by 3. Using the equation, why we have used this equation? Because a particular equation was for ball bearing, in which P is equal to 1 by 3 we have taken. P is equal to small p is equal to 3 we have taken. Therefore, the equation is reduced to C is equal to P into L10 to the power 1 by 3. Now, using this equation, we will get a value of dynamic load carrying capacity C. So, P is given in the numerical radial load 5000. L value life in millions of revolutions we have calculated here. We will use this both values, we will put in this formula, and we can calculate the value of capital C, dynamic load carrying capacity. Dynamic load carrying capacity. So the answer which we are getting of this dynamic load carrying capacity is 44310.48. 44310.48. All right, 44310.48. This is the value of dynamic load carrying capacity. So I hope you have understood this numerical. Basically, ultimately you have to calculate the dynamic load carrying, but for that you should have the life in terms of millions of revolution. If you are not having the life in millions of revolution, you will have to get that value by the formula in step number 1. That is L10 is equal to 60 into N into L10H upon 10 to the power 6. All right. Coming into the next one. This is the next numerical, students. The numerical is saying that a taper roller bearing, the numerical is saying that a taper roller bearing has dynamic load capacity of 26 kilonewton. So this is the dynamic load. In this, we don't have to calculate the dynamic load. It is given in the numerical. What is the value? 26 kilonewton. The desired life for 90% of the bearing is 8,000 hours. So this 90% life means this is in hours. This means that it is the value of L. It is the value of L10 in hours. It is means L10H. This is the value of L10H. All right, and speed is 300. Speed is 300 RPM. It is 300. Speed is what? Speed is your 300 RPM. This is what? This is the value of small n. Now, in order to calculate the equivalent radial load for the bearing that the bearing can carry, in order to calculate it, equivalent radial load, what we will do? See, equivalent radial load can be calculated. We already have the formula C is equal to P. We already have this formula C is equal to P. In this previous equation, we have seen C is equal to P into L10 to the power 10, 0.3. So using this equation, first what we have done, we have calculated the L10 life, because life in hours can't be used in the formula of equivalent dynamic load. So we have calculated 60, 300 is the number of RPM, 8,000 is the number of hours, 144 is the million revolution value of life of the bearing. Now this we will use in this equation step number 2, that C is equal to P into L10 to the power 0.3. So from this equation, this C value is given to you. C value is given to us. C capital C dynamic load, it is equal to 26 kilonewton. P we don't have, we will have to calculate this value of P. L10 life is there. L10 life is the life in millions of revolution already calculated in the previous step. Putting all these value, we can calculate the dynamic load. All right. And since the bearing here is purely, since the bearing here is purely radial, as it is given in the question itself, equivalent radial load you need, no? So since it is purely radial bearing, therefore total equivalent load will be equal to 5854, means the total load it is itself the radial load, so it is equal to 5854.16. This is the total load, or in other words we can say it is the total equivalent radial load that is acting on the bearing. All I hope you have understood this numerical. It was also similar to the previous one, but the only difference was that in this question they have given you the value of C and you were asked to calculate the value of load P. Alright. The other steps were same, like calculation of life in millions revolutions. and then after using it in this formula, the formula was also the same. The only thing was that here we have to calculate the value of load that is acting on the bearing. In the previous question, what was that? In the previous question, you had to calculate the value of dynamic load which is acting on the bearing, and you were provided with the value of radial load that is acting on the bearing. So I hope these two questions, these two numericals are understood to you. One more numerical we will do, students, in order to working on this topic. All right. So this is the numerical. A single row deep groove ball bearing is subjected to a pure radial force of 3 kN from a shaft that rotates at 600 rpm. So there is a single row deep groove ball bearing that is subjected to pure radial load of 3 kilonewton. So this is basically your pure radial load. We can write it as FR. All right. And from a shaft whose diameter, which rotates it at 600 rpm. 600 rpm means this becomes your value of small n. The expected life, L10 life means L10 life is given to you as 30,000 hours. L10 life in hours, that is L10H. It is given to us as 30,000 hours. The minimum acceptable diameter of the shaft is 40 mm. So the minimum acceptable diameter of the shaft is what? It is 40 mm. So shaft diameter is given to us small d. We will write it by the subscript small d. This is also given to us. Now what we have to do? We have to select a suitable ball bearing for this application. It is a very good question because in this we have to select the ball bearing. So first of all, ball bearing is selected based on the dynamic load carrying capacity of the bearing. How we will calculate the dynamic load carrying capacity? See, since it is a case of pure radial load, it is a case of pure radial load. Here it is written. Therefore, the total load that will be acting will be equal to the radial load itself. That is P is equal to 3000. Then after L10 in million volume will be 60 into 10 into L10 upon 10 to the power 6. So using this formula, number of RPMs given to you, and your L10 life in hours given to you, you can calculate the L10 life in million revolutions. Now with the second equation for calculating the load carrying capacity, C is equal to P into L10 to the power 1 by 3. Using this equation, this is the value of load, and this 1080 is the value of life in hours, life in millions revolutions. Using this both value, we can calculate the value of dynamic load carrying capacity. Now, based on it, if you will see the table in which the value of in which the type of bearing based on the value of this dynamic load. If you, this you can if you want to select the bearing, then based on this particular load, corresponding to this particular load, are and they are corresponding to this particular dynamic load and corresponding to this diameter 40 mm. In the table, you can see that bearings are 61808, 16008, 6008, 16208, and these are the bearings. In my coming video lecture, I will tell you how this particular number of the bearing is assigned. All right, out of this, we will use 6208 as the bearing. Now let's discuss some multiple choice question based on the discussion we had right now. So the questions are multiple choice question number 1. Which among the following are functions of bearing? First, to ensure free rotation of shaft with minimum friction. Second, holding shaft in current position. Third, transmit the force of the shaft to the frame. And fourth, all of the listed. So these all first three options which are given, these all are the functions of a bearing. So D, which includes all the three above, is the correct answer. D is the correct answer. This was our multiple choice question number 1. Coming into the next question, a radial bearing supports the load that acts along the axis of the shaft, whether it is true or false. So along the axis, the bearing which supports the load is known as the thrust bearing. So this is not the correct answer. So D is the correct option. This statement is false. Alright, this we have completed question number 2. Coming into the next one, students. Question number 3. A dash bearing supports the load along the axis of the shaft. Now the bearing which supports the load along the axis of the shaft is known as thrust bearing. Just in the previous MCQ I have told to you. So A is the correct answer. A thrust bearing supports the load along the axis of the shaft is the correct answer. Coming into multiple choice question number 4. The sliding contact bearings, also called plain bearings, have no problem of wear. So is it true or false? In sliding, as I have already told to you, in sliding bearings there is a problem of friction, and therefore this statement is not correct. Therefore we use anti-friction bearings, which are the ball and the roller bearings. So this statement is not true. Coming into the MCQ number 5. In steam and gas turbines, the rolling contact bearings are used. Whether it is correct or is it wrong? So the statement, as we all know, in the case of steam and gas turbines, large load has to be supported. Therefore we use the sliding contact bearing, not the roller contact bearing. Therefore statement is wrong. B is the option. Coming into multiple choice question number 6. Which of the following are true about plasticity? About plasticity, which of the following are true? So first is permanent deformation, second ability to retain deformation under load or removal of load, third plastic deformation is greater than elastic deformation, all of them mentioned. So we all know that about plasticity all the statements given are correct, therefore option D is the correct option. Coming into multiple choice question number 7. Which of the following is measure of stiffness? So the measure of stiffness among the following options given to us, we all know that modulus of elasticity is basically the measure of stiffness. So A is the correct option. Coming into multiple choice question number 8. What is the question? The question is saying that which of the following facts are true about resilience? So resilience, we all know it is the ability of the material to absorb energy when deformed elastically. So option A itself is the correct option. Coming into multiple choice question number 9. The modulus of resilience is defined as, so among the options given, modulus of resilience, we all know it is the strain energy per unit volume. This means that in the options, the first one, strain energy per unit volume, this is the correct option. Option A is the correct option. Coming into multiple choice question number 10. In gearboxes and small size motors, rolling contact bearings are used. Whether it is correct or wrong. Now this is correct because it is really correct that in gearbox and in small size motors, rolling contact bearings are used. Coming into these all are the multiple choice questions we have discussed. This was our the 10th multiple choice question. Now for your self-study, you can use some references which I have given in the screen. You can use any of the references. All are very good books. Even I have consulted this book for making the study materials for this video lecture. So thank you students. For today it's enough. In this way we have completed the sliding contact bearing and the rolling contact bearing topic. Thank you students. Thank you and have a nice day.